I've been a small-town cop for 20 years, and I've seen things that could fill 100 nightmares. But there's one case that still keeps me up at night. I used to think our town was safe. One mine rode a diner that closed at 9, and people who waved even when they didn't like you. Predictable. Ordinary. Until the night the phones started ringing, and no one was on the other end. It was 11:42 p.m. when the first call came in. A farmhouse on the edge of town. Neighbors reported screaming. When I arrived, the door was wide open, lights on, and a smell hung in the air like burnt wood mixed with copper. Inside, nothing looked touched. The furniture was still. This is what said. Even the TV was still buzzing with static. But on the kitchen table sat an old cassette recorder, still playing, whispering faintly through the noise. And somewhere under the static, I heard a voice say, "You shouldn't have come alone." I froze. It wasn't Elon's voice. It wasn't anyone's voice I recognized. It sounded larger, like a dozen whispers stacked into one. He shut it off, but the static didn't stop. It just changed pitch, like it was breathing. I didn't realize it then, but at moment of silence, after wasn't silence at all, it was listening, and every time I think about it, every time I try to sleep, I still hear that faint, gasping sound in my ears, like the house never forgot me. Ellen Marks was her name. 34, elementary school teacher. No criminal record, no enemies. Her car was still in the driveway, keys in the ignition, purse on the passenger seat. It looked like she had just stepped out for a moment and vanished. I filed the report, wrote the statement, tried to forget it. But the next morning, her students started calling the station. They said they could still hear a voice through the school intercom, even though classes had been canceled. "She's still teaching," one of them said, "but it doesn't sound like her anymore." I thought it was grief, imagination, kids being scared. But I went back to her house anyway. In daylight, it felt colder. Not the kind of cold you feel on your skin, the kind that seeps into your bones. Every shadow in that place seemed to move a little when you weren't looking. The mirrors fogged even though the air was dry. Then I found it. A basement door that wasn't supposed to be there. Not on any blueprint. Not on any of the house's documents. The handle was warm. When I opened it, I expected dust and dirt. Maybe a furnace. Instead, I found an exact copy of the house. Every piece of furniture mirrored, every photo reversed, even the light flickered in the opposite rhythm. And standing in the far corner was Ellen, or something that wore her shape. She didn't turn around right away. She was facing the wall, whispering the same phrase again and again. "They're making copies." Her voice was low, mechanical, as if someone was pressing rewind and play over and over on a machine that shouldn't work anymore. When she finally turned around, her eyes were gone. In their place was static moving, writhing static. And before I could speak, she said in my own voice, "You shouldn't have come alone." I ran up the stairs, slammed the door, and sprinted to my patrol car. I didn't stop shaking until I was halfway down the road. But when I radioed dispatch to report what I saw, the voice that answered wasn't my dispatcher. It was a woman. Her tone was calm, soft, almost amused. "Officer Reynolds?" she said. "We got another call. Another house. Same situation." She gave me the address, and my stomach dropped. It was the same one I'd just left. I turned around. The house was gone. Just an empty field. The road behind me gone too. It was like the world had erased itself except for me, my car, and the sound of that cassette recorder whispering from my passenger seat. It wasn't there before, but it was now same recorder, same tape. I played it again, even though every part of me screamed not to. My voice came through this time. My voice screaming, begging, saying words I didn't remember saying yet. It asked making more of me. I quit the next day, turned in my badge, moved to towns over, tried to rebuild my life. But the case file, full. I'd find it in my mailbox, my glove compartment, even taped to my mirror. Every version had the same phrase written at the bottom in my handwriting. "You shouldn't have come alone." I burned them all. Didn't matter. The next morning, another copy would be their edges charred. ink still wet. Then came last month. New number on my phone, new voice on the line. Officer Reynolds, it said, we have a situation. Farmhouse. Edge of town? I didn't answer. But that night, I found something new waiting by my bed. A cassette recorder. Red light blinking. When I pressed play, I heard breathing, then static, then me. If you're hearing this, my voice said, it's already started again. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the town. Maybe it's the tape. Maybe it's the part of me that never really left that house. But sometimes when I close my eyes, I hear the phone ring again. Sometimes I answer, and sometimes, on the other end, I hear a voice whispering through the static. They're making copies. The worst part, I've stopped trying to wake up. Because now, I'm not sure I ever left that basement. Maybe I've been talking to you from down there the whole time. And if that's true, then that means you're listening to the tape now. And it's listening to you. Long pause. Faint whisper of you shouldn't have come alone. If you think this story ends here, you're wrong. Because last night, I got another call. Same voice, same words. But this time, it came from inside my house. If you dare, click here for the next nightmare story, even darker than this one. Some tapes never stop playing.